Once again, this is Dr. Phil Fernandes, the president of the Institute of Biblical Defense, the pastor of Trinity Bible Fellowship, and I'm the professor of apologetics and religion for Veritas International University, a school that was founded by one of my mentors, Dr. Norman Geisler. I'm also the vice president of the International Society of Christian Apologetics, which is currently fighting in the current battle for the Bible, trying to get the evangelical church to once again embrace biblical inerrancy, that the Bible in the originals is totally without error. This is the Phil Fernandes Show. We hope you subscribe to the show. And this is Old Testament prophecies fulfilled by Jesus, Old Testament Messianic prophecies, part 2. And the specific time of Christ's first coming is actually listed, is actually spelled out for us in Daniel chapter 9, verses 24 to 27, in Daniel's 70 weeks prophecy. Now, it turns out to be 70 weeks of 7 years apiece, so it's 490 years. And we're told from the decree, the order to rebuild the temple and the walls, from that order, which was issued by King Cyrus the Persian in about 444 BC, from that point, 483 years, then Messiah the Prince will come. And that takes you right to the time when Jesus proclaimed himself to be the Messiah without words by entering Jerusalem on a donkey. And but 483 years from the decree to the day Messiah enters Jerusalem proclaiming to be the Messiah. But then it says after that Messiah will be cut off and have nothing, no descendants, no physical descendants will be executed. And he was crucified. Then it talks about the temple being destroyed. So you have a time period of over 7 years from the triumphal entry. So what that tells us is there's a gap after the 49th week and the 50, or after the 69th week and before the 70th week. So we're still waiting for the final week, the final 7 years. And that will start with the signing of a peace treaty with the many, and probably the decree to rebuild the temple again, and that's still future. But basically what we're told is that Messiah the Prince will come before the temple is destroyed in 70 AD. And he will be executed before the temple is destroyed in 70 AD. Now just think about it. There were hundreds of guys who claimed to be the Jewish Messiah. Probably most of them were not descendants of David, though. But there were hundreds of guys who claimed to be the Jewish Messiah who were executed by the Romans before the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. But we can narrow it down to see that only Jesus fulfills these prophecies. We're told in Isaiah 35, verses 4 to 6, that the Messiah would perform miracles. He would give sight to the blind, the lame would walk, the deaf would hear, the dead would be raised, and the gospel would be preached to the poor. Isaiah 35, verses 4 to 6. Psalm 78, verse 2, he would teach in parables. And so we're getting all these little clues, and these clues start to add up more and more until we start seeing that, oh look, only Jesus of Nazareth fulfilled the total combination of these. We're told that he'd be rejected by the Jews in Isaiah 53 and other passages, and Jesus was rejected by the Jews. The Sanhedrin claimed he was guilty of blasphemy because he, being a man, made himself out to be God and turned him over to the Romans to be crucified, and acted like he was going to try to lead an uprising, a revolt. And so he was rejected by the Jews, yet he received a wide Gentile following. Isaiah 42, 1-4, that the nations would follow after him. Now, I'm a non-Jewish believer. I'm a Gentile believer. I'm from America. We have people from Gentile nations all over the world, people who are not Jewish, who worship the Jewish Messiah, Jesus of Nazareth. And so, what man came to earth, claimed to be the Jewish Messiah, was executed before 70 AD, was rejected by the Jews, but received a wide Gentile following? Well, there's only one guy that claimed to be the Jewish Messiah, was executed before 70 AD, and has a wide Gentile following. All over the world, there are houses of worship where every Sunday morning, people from Gentiles from all over the world worship, this is kind of strange, worship the Jewish Messiah, the one who God anointed to rescue the nation of Israel. And only Jesus of Nazareth fulfills those few prophecies right there, that he'd be executed before 70 AD and receive a wide Gentile following. No one else who claimed to be the Jewish Messiah fits that other than Jesus of Nazareth. But we have more prophecies to look at. For instance, he was betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, Zechariah chapter 11, verses 12 and 13. And he was forsaken by his disciples, Zechariah 13 and verse 7. So the list goes on and on, but only Jesus is the one who fulfilled the Old Testament prophecies of the Messiah. We're going to go to Old Testament prophecies part 3 in just a minute. Please subscribe to the Phil Fernandes Show. Visit our website, www.philfernandes.com, or you can also look us up at instituteofbiblicaldefense.com. You can click on the sermon audio button and listen to over 1,600 sermons, lectures, and debates that I've done. You can go to Amazon.com and order probably about 30 to 35 books or booklets that I've authored about apologetics and the defense of the Christian faith. Thank you, and God bless.